Hey and welcome to the next video, and as you saw in the clickbait, we're doing audio install. Finally, we're now at my favorite place. This is like a kid going into the candy store, and we're at DB. They've been with me for over 10 years. We've been building sick builds, show builds, really quality, high quality builds when it comes to audio installs. DB, they are specialized in the audio section here in Sweden, but they are reaching out to the full potential in Europe and in the US. No problems there, so go and check out their website. They have everything, just the showroom that they have here, the quality, of course, my favorite, Vega. They have Def Bounce, they have Avatar, Nakamichi, they have so many marks that you could choose from and specialized to your needs. So go and check them out, and let's start picking out the components that we're gonna have in the Scirocco, and let's start the build. And welcome to today's video. So guys, we're back from DB. We have a little bit on display. I just want to briefly go through the audio build that we're gonna do in the Scirocco, and I think I'm gonna do it in 2 videos. I'm gonna do one video with the trunk setup and the subwoofers, and then we're gonna do a video only on the door panels in the back and in the front doors, and of course the best thing, upholstery and plexiglass and LEDs. So if we just start with the best thing, of course it's the subwoofers. Through the whole build we went with the Machete series, and it's Def Bounce, of course. So this is the D2, it's 800 watts, and we're gonna bridge them down to 1 ohm. That's what we're gonna do. And I think these puppies and the magnet on these are gonna sound perfect in the Scirocco. So we're gonna have 2 10-inch in the back, and moving over to the powerhouse and what's gonna power the whole system. So we chose 2 monoblocks, so 1 for each subwoofer. It's 800 watts each, and then of course we're gonna go with the 4-channel amplifiers. So these are the HC60, it's 60 amps, and these are gonna be plenty enough to power up the Scirocco and the sound install that we have. So what's gonna handle all the sound to the amplifiers? We're gonna go over to the Nakamichi, the powerhouse. I love this upgrade from Nakamichi. So this is a sound processor. I have it already in the Infinity. If you haven't seen the audio install in the Infinity, I'm just gonna put a tag up here. So what we're gonna do in the doors, we're gonna go quite big in the back. We have these Fight 80s. That's 2 8-inch mid-bass speakers that we're gonna have in the back, and of course we're gonna have tweeters in the back also. And then moving over, we're gonna have 2 6-inch mid-bass. All the speakers are 170 watts LMS, so the real wattage on it. And then we have these small puppies, the AT32 tweeters. So we're gonna have 4 of them in the car. It's gonna be plenty enough, and Matthias is gonna be pumping. We're gonna move over to today's topic, and that's gonna be the trunk install. We're gonna focus on first building the subwoofer box. So we're gonna go through a little bit how we do that. We're gonna go through a little bit of the volume that they need, and we're gonna have an open port. So we're gonna start with that in the video, and then we're gonna move over to the install of the amplifiers. And of course we're gonna focus a little bit on display. I wanna show this up, both for our awesome sponsor, DB, but also for the visual impact that you have when you see the car in the back. And in this video, we're gonna go through how to install the subwoofer, how to build the box, how to install the amplifiers, and then we're gonna do beauty panels. And I know many of you out there like the beauty panels, and we're gonna show you how we magically install everything with magnets. So for the guys who are interested more in the specifications, I'm gonna put it in the description below, because I don't want to bore you too much with the details. But this is the candy store that Matthias is gonna get into his car. So yet again, I hope you're gonna like today's video. So we're gonna jump over directly to building the subwoofer box. And the next video, we're gonna do the awesome door cards and the upholstery. This is a pretty bad sketch, but here you have the sketch of the subwoofer box. This is the front. This is the 2 holes that I need to have for the subwoofers. And then we're gonna do a bottom side port for air. And then in the back, you can see I have an incline. That is to match the back seat. But here's the measurements, and this is the type of port that I'm gonna have in the bottom. So I'm gonna focus on cutting out the holes for the subwoofer box, the front side, and this tool is magical. I couldn't live without it. So I did a bunch of measurements, and tell you guys, I need to think about everything. This is the front panel. So first of all, I have to think about the thickness of the material that I'm using right now. And I'm gonna put this on the outside. I'm gonna explain that a little bit more, but outside of all the measurements I do. So I need to add at least 2 centimeters on the front, because I'm gonna have the flooring. It's gonna be 2 centimeters thick, and then I need to count on 2 centimeters up. And then I can build the port, and I need to calculate the circular measurements for the subwoofers. So what I did now, and I'm just gonna explain the tool because I think it's so freaking good. So this is the center of the hole, and I measured out the center of the subwoofer on each side. As you can see, don't matter this one. That's the middle center of the subwoofer. I mount it there, then I measure out half of the diameter of the subwoofer, and then I take off the drill bit thickness. And now when I take down my mill, I can actually do the circle movement, and I'm gonna get the perfect hole pattern for the subwoofer to fit in. And I'm gonna then mimic that on this side, and I have 2 holes for the subwoofers, and then the front side is done, and I can cut out the outer section and then focus on the port side where I want it, how big and everything. I'm gonna do the measurements out from the instructions that I had from Def Pounds. So yes, a bunch of measurements, but just keep it cool and do it right. A little bit of an extra tip: buy a little bit too much of material. You may need it. And we're back. So what I did is that's the bottom part and that's the top part. I'm gonna have an incline in the back because of the incline of the back seat. So that's why the top one is gonna be much smaller. Then we have the front section, and I usually do 2 sheets of wood. The one in the back is gonna be the stiff one holding all together. That's going to be in a 20 mil MDF, and the front section that's going to be together, screwed and glued, is a 6 millimeter. No, sorry, that's a 12 millimeter. Then of course you have the port section, and then you have the sides, and the only thing that's missing now is the back. And I'm going to wait with the back. I'm going to completely mount together the whole subwoofer box. And then I'm gonna find out what incline I actually have, so I haven't done any wrong with my calculations. It's not that I'm not trusting myself, but it's just precaution. The next step for me when I'm completely putting together a subwoofer box is pre-drilling and pre-sinking in. So but I'm of course going to show you what I mean with pre-drilling. And so let's put the subwoofer box together. Okay, a little bit of time lapse and B-rolls and everything, but I'm just gonna shortly show you what tools I use when I'm putting it together. And I'm pre-drilling, so I'm using 2.5 drill, and the screws are 4.5. So I'm like a half underneath, because I don't want to. If you use too big, the thread from the screw is not gonna actually grip on anything, and if you use a too small one, that's gonna still be the problem. And the problem is if you don't do it correctly, and it's really good because we did a little bit wrong. You can see the crack that I have right through the whole MDF, and the reason of that is that I used this drill and I had it way too
good job.
And what I did, I had the drill way too far in, and the screws are way longer, so I have to match the depth of the screw with the drill bit that I have. So around about that length of the screw. It's a perfect example of how wrong it can go, and it did go wrong for me. But what I'm gonna do now is then pre-drill and then countersunk tool. So it looks like this. I have different options. I have 3 different options. So you can see on that one that's quite big, that's a really small one, and this is in between. So the countersunk is to make it so the skull of the screw or the head of the screw doesn't pop out, and that pops out because I didn't drill it deep enough. And that's gonna make then space in between the subwoofer box and the flooring in the installation that you do. So yeah, and then of course I use wooden glue in between everything, and we're also gonna use silicone on the inside to not have any leakage in the subwoofer box. So I just want to explain the big crack that I got in the MDF. What I'm gonna do now is take out the screw again, re-drill it, push in a lot of glue, and we have a little bit of luck here because the sides on the subwoofer box are on the outer section of the subwoofer, so I'm not scared that it's going to crack even more. It's just going to pull it even more together. If you have done this design with having it on the inside, I would have been a little bit scared and I would have redone the whole front section. But I'm lucky enough, I can push in some glue, pull it together, really tough. But in the future, yeah, keep that tip in mind, pre-drill and countersink, and it's gonna be perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is put everything together. I'm not gonna bore you with too much talking. See you in the next step. So we're now at the stage when I can put the back lid on, and then the full subwoofer box is enclosed. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna blow this clean and nice, try to touch it up with just a rug or a blanket on the inside. And now I'm gonna take my construction glue, but you can also just use silicone. You just wanna tighten up all these cavities all over so it doesn't leak air. That's the most important. And then we're gonna glue this together, and then I have to do the last silicone or construction glue from the outside, and then glue the inner section here. That's really important. But then we're also gonna touch the subwoofer up on the outside with some Bondo and take away, or I'm gonna put Bondo over the screw holes here and on the front side. The front side section is gonna be the most important one. But let's blow this off, clean it off a little bit, and then put in the construction glue. So we put silicone on the inside now, and everything's done on the inside. And now we're gonna attack the outside. And why I'm gonna attack it is just to get this really smooth and nice, because this is gonna look through or into the fabric. So when I put on the fabric, it's gonna sink into the holes where the bolts are, and we don't want that. So I took a rapid carbon fiber Bondo, and I'm now gonna apply the Bondo. I'm just gonna try to get this straight and nice, so it's not gonna push through. I'm also gonna do the edges into the ports because I don't want these ridges to be uneven. I want the perfect airflow in the port, so be very careful about that. And then I can't wait to just test mount the subwoofers and see how it looks into the car. But let's add the Bondo. Okay, subwoofer box is ready, and now moving over to the interior part. So we're gonna install the back seat to have a reference to the subwoofer, and then I'm gonna do start off doing the flooring, and we're gonna do this in different stages. I'm just gonna show you a little bit of tricks that I usually use to like line out the floor, and a lot of extra on that. So this is what we have. So Matthias is already done with the battery tray, so it's welded in and everything's perfect. Then we're gonna mount the subwoofer box and the seat, so we can push on the subwoofer box until that. And now I'm gonna line out so I know how big the flooring is gonna be. So it's gonna be sheet covering all this, and then of course the battery is gonna point out, and I'm gonna use the roll of masking paper that I have in the paint booth. I'm gonna put it down, and I'm gonna use just a sharp knife and cut out the lines that I need here, and then I can have the nice lines there. That's quicker for me to do that way than measuring, because all the radiuses are not straight. So we're gonna move on with that. So I used the template and I cut the flooring out as you saw in the time lapse. I put down the floor in the back. I put in the 2 batteries that we need. And now comes the really hard part in making the design and just figuring it out, because we have a really tight space in the Scirocco. And I know I just went for 10s, but I put everything in now. You're going to see what the struggle we have with space. And I mean the depth of it. So here we have the subwoofer box, we have the flooring, That's just to make a good foundation for whatever I'm gonna place on the flooring. I just put out the amplifiers to get a whiff of how I'm gonna do this. And my biggest problem right now is the port side. The port is a little bit lower than the batteries, so I'm gonna have to do a pretty hard channel up to the flooring that I'm gonna have here. I'm still gonna have the port breathing out in the front section that I don't really know yet how to do. So you can go different stages here, but I think I'm gonna just quickly cut out a top deck so I see what I have to play with. And then I think I'm gonna do the backside here to know how deep I can put the amplifiers and how I'm gonna place them. I can place them like this. I can turn them the different way like this. But then comes the hard part with the design, and I want to showcase the batteries and I want to showcase the amplifiers, of course. And on the sides, I think I'm gonna have one big power block on the right side, and then the sound processor on the left side. And then, of course, we have the top deck, and that cannot only be a flat top deck. I don't like that, because then you haven't gone the whole way. So I marked out the middle of the battery, and I marked out the middle of the subwoofer, just to know where everything should be, so I can measure to the middle. That's a big tip. So you can measure always from the middle and out, never measure from the car and out. That's gonna be, yeah, that can be really, really hard. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you with any more cutting out of wood right now, so I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1. So just cut out a rough piece. I saved a lot of materials. It's not how it's gonna look in the end, but my thought was to have a top deck like this, having LEDs on the underside so it illuminates down on the stereo install. Then we're gonna add a lot of more LEDs in here. And then, of course, I want to do a beauty panel here, and I'm gonna do a beauty panel on the front section. And I don't have a lot of space to play with, because, okay, I'm gonna ramble on quite a lot now, but it's quite important in the end, because you have to think about so many stages in forehand, so you don't mess up in the end. So what I mean now is that I have another problem, and that's the subwoofers. When they play, you want to find out the maximum that they can protrude outwards, and I think that's like 1 centimeter. But I have to account for from here 1 centimeter, or from here, I mean. I need to account for 1 centimeter from this side and outwards, and then I don't have so much more playroom for the batteries. As I said, I want to highlight the products as much as I can, but still it has to be nice. Yeah, and then come up with the design of the front panels or the beauty panels. That's the next step. And I have a lot of templates that I bought at Diabakuten, and I'm not really happy with any one of these right now, because I've used them so much on other cars, other builds, and other customer cars. I have other set that's quite hard to work with, but it's brilliant if you want to find out or do other geometries yourself, and it's a kit. It's like Mechanica. You put it together with screws and bolts and everything. I'm going to show you later, because I think I'm going to be forced to do a front section out of that kit, because yeah, I want this to be spectacular, of course, but I don't want it to be too much. It's still a Scirocco. The back piece was more intricate than I thought, but it came out really good. It was simple, but yeah, I wanted to have a whole piece. I didn't want to split it. A lot of people split them in half. I don't like that. I really love it when you can fit the whole panel. And just a tip, what I did, I traced out, I just put a scrap panel that I had laying over there in the wood section, and I just took a pen on the wood on the backside, traced it out. So what I'm gonna do now is mount it to the chassis, so it's really centered, and then I can start sand it down so it's level or further down than the chassis, because you have to think about the material. So I'm gonna use leather. We're gonna build up quite a lot of material, so I would say like go down a couple of mil. It's not gonna look bad. if it's too far down. It looks worse when it's too high up. But now I have this one and I know the angle of it, and now I can start playing with the design with the amplifiers. I'm sorry that I'm rambling on, but I'm trying to save you time, and I hope you appreciate it. So over to this corner, what I talked about, a little bit of a mechanica. Instead of having already done templates, you could use all these pieces to make a design. So you have screws, you have clamps, and this is what I came up with. So I did an outline of what I had as a front panel, as a beauty outline panel, and now I lined up the middle of the subwoofer box and where the subwoofer ended up. And I went forth and back like over 1 hour, I think, and this is just one side of the beauty panel. And when I cut this out, I have to transfer that over to the other side like a mirror, and then do some cool stuff with the mill. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pre-cut a little bit here, and then I'm gonna take my mill from the back side, and I have a ball bearing that is gonna run on the intersection on this plastic, and cut the whole piece out with the mill. And I'm gonna use one of my straight bits that I have here. They look like this. It's a straight bit, and then you have a ball bearing, and that ball bearing is gonna roll on the plastic edge, and I'm gonna get it really nice, and I'm gonna get this really nice. The hard part is then just transferring it over to the other side. You could also do it in the way that you do both sides simultaneously, and then you actually then you use double-sided tape. You push this down so it's rigid and hard on there, and then you can mill the whole part as one piece. I think we have good progress today. Fortunately, the clock is 2 in the middle of the night, and I have a little girl that wakes me up at 6 in the morning every morning, so I need to go home and sleep. But we're in the stage that we have the front beauty panel, and I think I'm gonna do yet another panel on to that, and then the plexiglass on the back side. We're going to see how much space we have in between the subwoofers and the beauty panel, and now I could start doing the flooring and the design of the flooring. And to give this more depth, I need to have big chamfer, so the milling on this one. I need to be done in my head how much I want to cut off on this piece so it adds up to the rest of the design. And then I need to have layers and layers on the floor to get that depth that I want to in the audio system. So I need to go home, but we're gonna see each other tomorrow again. Now comes the really hard part, putting the amplifiers in a good angle where I want it and a good design. And as I said before in the video, the design takes forever. But we have the amplifier. We already went through the gear that we're running, but that bounced. So I have the small amplifier and I have the big amplifier. So this is for the subwoofer, and I want to find an incline that I think is okay. And I have a big problem because I have the port side here, so I don't want to build up too much because then I'm going to block off the port yet again. I know I should have put the port higher, but it's impossible right now. So I'm going to find out in a good incline here, and then the big the big amplifier behind it. I guess the tools I'm going to use now to find a good incline is this digital incline meter. I get the, you can see it's very, very sensitive, but I can put the incline like this, and I think I'm gonna aim for around about 18 degrees, between 17 and 18 degrees. Then I don't build up too much height, and I think that's gonna be quite nice from above. So I'm gonna put this onto the wood like that, and then I have my 20-degree angle, and then I'm going to measure out the length of the triangle that I need, because I don't want the triangle to stick further out than the amplifier does. And then we're going to move over to making this kind of box around it, because then on top I want to be able to have a beauty panel over it, and then of course moving over to the plexiglass, magnets and everything with the RGB light. But I think we're going to start here. I'm going to cut out the triangles, and then of course I'm going to trace out the amplifier on a board, on a 6mm wooden board, on the small and the big one. And remember, I'm going to do this for 4 amplifiers, and I'm going to cut that out. And I guess that's quite boring to look at, so I'm gonna move over to when I'm already done with cutting out all the material, so I can show you how it looks. 4 pieces, I just put them on a surface and sanded them flush, so they are all good. And now I can just do my incline and begin the process of doing the plates for the amplifiers. Don't take me literally now, but this is like something that I want to do. And now I'm going to trace out the outline from the amplifiers. And a tip here now, try to keep the amplifiers away from the dust. They are really, really sensitive, I know. I need to use them now, but I'm going to directly put them into the bag again. So now we're done with the left side. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna do exactly the same to the other side. So we do the magic YouTube trick. 3, 2, 1. So I mounted the amplifiers on that side. I guess I could mount it on that side, but let's do the frame first. So I did a rough outline where I want to have the outer section. Already cut these pieces up. As I said before, I cut a lot of pieces up, but the outline I did was the blue, and I'm gonna put a high incline on the back like that. I'm gonna do like a wooden box, and then this on the outside. And how I did that was yet again measuring out the incline of the amplifiers. And I want a wooden lid on this, and I'm gonna trace it out so it doesn't hit the top of the amplifier. That's gonna be the beauty panel, and we're gonna do an epic design on that. Wow, it's starting to look like something. So, but batteries, center, the 2 boxes in center, I measured them, and now my idea is making 1 beauty panel on that one, 1 beauty panel on that one. They should, of course, be mirrored to each other, and then a design in the middle. I'm now gonna go back again, try to use my templates, and do a beauty panel or 2 beauty panels that could sit above these 2. And I think we're gonna integrate everything with magnets. I think that's the best way we could do it. So let's go. So we're now preparing the subwoofer box and the beauty panel to mate so to call. So what me and Matthias did in the car, sorry for not filming that, but everything was in the car, and we made guide holes. So we drilled through the front panel or the beauty panel in the position it was in, through to the subwoofer box, so you can see the hole here and the hole here matches up with the holes on the beauty panel. And what we're gonna do now is mount the magnets. So the tools I use is this 20mm drill bit, and you want to have one that doesn't have long tip, because that's gonna make your screws that you get with the magnets, so these, not stick in the material because the hole in the center is too big. Then we have the magnets, and this is a really strong one, so you mount it with a screw in the middle like that, and then you have your washers, they're gonna mate with the magnets. So the thought here, just to be a little bit clever now, is that we want to mount the magnets like completely flush to the beauty panel. Otherwise, most of the times I countersink them, but we thought about having very good guidance. So the magnet's gonna go into a pocket where the washer is. So we're gonna countersink the washer, and then we're gonna have the magnet on the beauty panel sticking out quite far. So when we go and wanna attach it to the subwoofer box, you can really find the pocket, and then it says click, and you have a perfect guidance. I've never had a problem that the magnets doesn't guide up to each other, but we wanted to try this out with you guys, and I think having a slot that the magnet goes into makes it even easier to mount. So something important that me and Matthias just remember that we didn't tell you is that you want to make the holes that the magnets go into like cone shaped. Otherwise you have too tight of a tolerance with a hole and slot. It's never going to be possible, because you're going to have to align all 4 or 5 or 6, how many magnets you have to like perfectly align them up. So what we did as just a solution for that is having sanding paper on the drill bit and making it cone shaped. So now you can see in the beginning of the hole you have cones, so they are oversized in the beginning, and when you reach down to the washer, it's a perfect fitment. So Matthias, would you be doing the honors putting the beauty panel on, and hopefully we hear that magic sound. Oh, I love that. I love that. So, perfect. Can you just feel if 4...
I can't even lift it off.
Okay, so 4 is way enough. I'm going to put the magnets where we bought them in the link in the description below. Each magnet is for 10 kilos each. Yeah. So it's going to carry over 40 kilos. And I don't think this panel weighs 40 kilos. It's more like 5 kilos maybe. And
not even. Just
do it again. Oh, I love that sound when it clicks on. Okay, next step is to make the next beauty panel that we did fit perfectly onto the subwoofer box. But I have my beauty panel, and as we showed you in the video, the washers are mounted, and we thought of the weight of the beauty panel, it doesn't weigh anything, and the magnets are super strong. But just listen to the beauty of this. Oh, look at Matthias, he's just enjoying himself. So it's stuck. It's stuck on there, so I'm almost can't budge it, and I'm almost afraid that I'm gonna wreck it. But yeah, this is how you mount the beauty panel, and just once again, and the subwoofer box is done. Just a note, we're gonna do a small radius on all the edges now. Prepare for upholstery. You can't, or of course you can, but it's just a recommendation to have a little bit of a radius on the edges. Otherwise, when you stretch the fabric around this corner, you can stretch it and rip it because of the hard line or the sharp edge. So with everything we have in the trunk setup, we're gonna do a little bit of a radius with the router bit that we have on the router. So I think from here, I'm not gonna bore you with anything else. Ooh, as you saw, the time lapse was, or I've cut down the time lapse, of course, but Jesus, this took forever. But I'm really happy. So I'm super happy with the results, and I guess we're gonna switch over to when we have done all the panels, so you can enjoy surely 5 or 6 hours of my work. So the results are in, and just a huge tip, I guess, when you're working with plexiglass and you're using the mill, you get a rough edge. So where you're gonna put your LEDs, you need to heat it up with a flame, so a flamethrower. So I did that on the whole plexiglass on the outer side, where the LEDs are gonna be, and sorry, on the inside I did put the flame on this side. And you can actually see that I already did it here, so you can look through the whole thing. The side that's going to be out to the viewers, you want to sand down so it's fully matte, and Matthias is holding up the LED strip. Yep. So this part is to the outside of the car. You have the Magas Design logo, and this side I sanded down with 120 grit, so it's matte as hell. And the inside where we have the LEDs the whole way is glass clear, because I heated it up. And Robin, if you want to do the honors, and here you have it. I know you can't really see it now when it's daylight, but you can see it. It's so freaking nice. And the Magas Design logo, and I think so
Robin is turning off the lights.
Robin is turning off the lights. And here we go, guys. Oh, that looks awesome on camera. And here we have the Magas Design logo. And look at this, guys. This is gonna be so cool. I promised you to show you all the panels when they were ready, but I wanted to just show you the tricks and nicks that we have. Integrating RGBs and the cables. So this is the panel. That's the right side. But here I have the back side. I know it's not a wonderful piece, but we have our power block. So that's where all the power cables and earth cables are gonna go in. And what we did, the theme yet again is Alcantara on the inside, and then black suede on the outside. And of course we're gonna have our RGB lights. It's quite simple. I'm gonna put a link in the description below which RGBs we chose, and this is just glued up on the top side here. We have put out the cable on the top side so you don't see it from the outside, and then we have a very easy installation. We have these brackets, so very simple, but I've been building cars with these not cars, sorry, audio installs. So they're going to be like this, and then it's going to be like a show light all over the whole trunk setup. And Matthias, if you want to just show them the done piece for the sound processor, that's already connected, and here you have how the RGBs are illuminating up the panel and the sound processor. I think it looks really sick and kick-ass. And with the RGBs that are in the complete installation, it's gonna look like I don't want to say a tuk-tuk in Thailand, but a little bit more classy, I would say. But now, jumping over to the next stage. And way longer in the future, we're done with all the panels and we're finally at the stage where we're going to install everything into the car. It's going to be amazing. I'm super happy with how the results came out, and I can tell you, I've been training on my upholstery side and knowledge, and I think all the corners and radiuses came out really good. I'm getting better at this, but a tip, I have YouTubed how to do all the radius and corners and how to cut the fabric. But as you can see, here's the middle part over the amplifiers. We have the side with the Nakamichi sound processor. We have the top deck with the plexiglass, of course the subwoofer, and it reminds me of a sad face with very thick eyebrows. Looks really cool. And then we have the back plate in the trunk. And now it's finally time to route all the cables for the amplifiers. And I'm gonna put you on a time lapse and enjoy the tough work that we put in, and now transforming this car into an audio car. And finally, we're at the stage when we can reveal the audio install in the trunk, and we've been working our asses off. And just to notify you guys, this is approximately like 10 days of work, so you get it. Like, this video is going to be, what, like 35 minutes? This is 10 days, but I'm not scaring you. Please take this as inspiration for your builds. And now enjoy our craftsmanship and the ideas in the design. And I hope to see you in the next video, because we're gonna release a video on how to do custom door panels in the next one. As I always say, good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you are, and enjoy.